Hello YouTubers and welcome to another video. Today I am very excited to talk to you about a fantastic brand new DAC from Topping, and this is the D90 III Discrete. So I'm on the hunt for a DAC. I've been using my old Topping E30 downstairs to kind of do the volume control and straight onto this big ass 8300 XP amp. I haven't got a preamp, so looking for a DAC that could act as a preamp was also something that I wanted to do. So I tried the 8300 CDQ, which matches my amp really well. Fortunately, it was a bit short on the sound. I tried the Audiolab M DAC Plus. Unfortunately, that was too short on the sound as well, although not by much. And you know, like I would probably be very happy with it. It's like here, look at this big thing. And then I tried some others, you know, like, and then when I learned that Topping was releasing the Topping D90 III, but this time the discrete version, which, you know, has got a little window here that you can see. Maybe I can take this out. Look, saved it for you guys. See there? That circuitry there. So that's a bespoke, custom, bespoke, I'm not sure if bespoke is the right word here, but it's a custom resistor ladder. And it's not an R2R, it's a 1-bit DAC. So I had to look at the 1-bit DAC technology, and I think it's been around for like ever, but but in Topping is kind of selling it as like a, you know, it's a catchy 1-bit DAC. You know, like it sounds better than Delta Sigma, because you know those nobody likes, or you know what Chord does, which is the custom chips and things, and then you got the R2R as well. So, but this is like a hybrid, and I was really a hybrid, not a hybrid, it's just a different approach. And I don't know much about 1-bit DACs, but you know, my impression of Topping devices was always that they were clean, but not musical, right? So there was something missing to very clean and very, you know, like precision, kind of like painting, but no nuance, no kind of a flat as well, you know, and yeah, no texture. So I did try a few Topping things in the past, but when I read the reviews of this one, they started talking about it having actually a good soundstage and body to musicality and things like that. So I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna get it and try it. I actually was a pretty quick decision, so I got it, and here it is, and now I'm ready to talk to you about it. So it's a nice device. I mean, some people say it's got an old design, but excuse me, I think this is a pretty cool, kind of elegant design. You got a power button here. You got a screen here, which is not a fancy kind of LCD screen or LED or whatever screens you want. It's just a basic old type screen, and it gives you all the information that you need. It's really clear. You can see it from very far. I like it. I like that a lot. Remember, this is audio equipment, so we don't need screens everywhere. And then you got a rotary knob, which acts as a button as well. At the back, we got a bunch of things here. So you got your power with the switch. You got a trigger, and trigger's nice because you can connect this to your other devices and don't have to power it on individually. Then you got your USB, my favorite port here. Then you got this, your Bluetooth antenna, because it's got a Bluetooth remote controller, which is pretty good if you learn how to use it and don't get annoyed by it. Then you got an optical in. Then you got for IIS, LVDS. This is probably people who are a couple steps ahead of me in terms of how they listen to music, because I don't use that. And it's got AES connection here. As outputs, you got your RCAs, and you got your balanced outputs here, which is very nice. So it feels good. It doesn't feel badly made. I mean, if you touch the cord is a lot heavier, the cord cutest, and it feels more substantial, and I do like the weight of that. But this doesn't feel light either. The RME feels about the same as the RME, although the RME feels a little bit more hollow than the topping. Overall, I really like this design. I think it's pretty cool, and everything terminals wise is okay. I mean, the RCAs do move a little bit actually. Maybe this is a normal thing because the cutest is like that as well. So anyway, so that's how it. So construction and feel, quality and feel are actually pretty good, you know. So no complaints there. In terms of the usability, you got plenty of ports here. The menu, you can adjust quite a lot of things, and if you're into like the special connections here, you can do a lot of those adjustments in there. It's got parametric EQ. I haven't used that feature yet, but I might well do, because you can adjust the sound to your room and things like that. So maybe I'll fool around with that in the future, but for now I just used it as it comes, and I have to say I'm really happy. The sound, you know, so the sound is a bit of a star. The sound coming out of this, you know, like there are DACs which are good, there are DACs which are bad. Then there are DACs which are outstanding, and the Topping D90 III Discrete to me is one of those outstanding DACs. I remember the first time I connected it, I was immediately kind of struck by like how much detail there was into the music, and how good the bass actually is on this. I was like, just like honestly, for the first hour or two that I was listening to this device here, I was like, wow, I really like this, you know, like it doesn't sound over analytical at all, but it sounds really precise at the same time, you know, like, so you got a lot of detail, a lot of texture, a lot of stuff, but it doesn't come across as kind of like empty-souled, you know, like without a soul. And I was really happy with what I was like, that's it, this is it, you know. However, after a little while, I found myself lowering the volume. You know, whenever I was listening, and I was testing a few different DACs and things, and I think I compared it mostly with the Audiolab M DAC Plus, and with the M DAC Plus, I could just here, this one here, it's pretty big. With the M DAC Plus, I could just forget music was playing, and it was nice and pleasant, and it was good, and I really appreciated that. You know, it was good for movies, it was good, it was just good all-rounder, and I didn't have, I just put it on and enjoy music, and the sound was pretty good. But with the Topping D90 III Discrete, although I was getting extra resolution, extra sense of kind of everything that was going on in the music, I was also getting a little bit of a too high treble, and I thought, well, maybe the parametric EQ would fix it, but then I didn't do that, and then actually at some point I got the chord cutest here, and I wasn't using the topping as much, you know, so I put it to one side. I was like, okay, that's it, I'm gonna keep the chord cutest. But then eventually the chord cutest gave me some issues as well, and then the issues with the sound, I mean, or I wasn't quite pleased, so I returned to the Topping D90 III Discrete, but this time, I think a little bit fortuitously, I went through the, I put the signal instead of directly to the amp, like you can, and you got the volume control here, instead of feeding the signal straight onto the amp, I was feeding the signal to the preamp, which is the Aoun S17 Pro, which is a Class A preamp, and then from there to the power amp, and I was controlling the volume on the Aoun with this set to DAC, so no volume control on here. And in that setup, with the signal going through the Class A preamp, all of a sudden, that leftover kind of a harshness in the higher frequencies kind of just boom disappeared, and I was like, okay, So all the detail was still there, all the weight was still there, the space was still there, but then that shrillness that I'm so sensitive to was gone. And all of a sudden, I fell in love with the topping again, and I actually made the decision that this is going to be the DAC that I'm going to keep after testing. It's been a crazy few weeks. I can tell you that. So because the sound coming out of this is absolutely fantastic, and it doesn't lack in musicality or anything. I like it both with headphones and in the system. I actually had a friend the other day come over, and we were just chilling and enjoying some music, and I can't remember the name of the song, but it was a solo singer, female singer, with a guitar, and it was like the performance was like in a room with like some sort of reverb, so that you could feel the sense of the room. And we were listening to that song, the topping, Class A preamp, and then the power amp, and then the speakers. And the sense that we were there in the venue was surreal, right? And that is an experience that doesn't happen very much, but it did happen. I remember that so well. We were both, it's like being there. So everything came together at that moment. So, but I guess saying this to say that the topping D90 III Discrete, contrary to some other toppings that I've tried in the past devices, and I haven't tried that many, but a few, has a sense of space, is able to deliver a sense of space. So compared to the Qtest, for example, and I think that's the biggest difference, is the sense of space. So the Qtest, you feel like the performance is happening somewhere there, right? So, and you can tell instruments here, instruments there, and it's happening there. So the vocals are not kind of like here, like in you. It's just everything's over there, and that's very nice. And like there's nothing wrong with that sort of perform or reproduction. And I really appreciate that, because it's not only like spaced out, the definition around all the instruments is outstanding. The Chord Qtest is actually really good with that. So with the Topping D90 III Discrete, the sound is a lot closer, but it's not flat. It's just a lot closer, right? So the action happens. It's like the artist is right there, and you kind of like just in it, right? And at the same time, it's not flat, because it allows the instruments to still appear here and still appear there. So there's still that holographic kind of like image, without a very kind of like sense of that the music is over there. Like it's just like over here. You're really in the middle of it, kind of situation. That's how best I can put it. Whereas the Qtest, it's not so much being in the middle of it. It's so much listening to it, but like from a little bit further back, and I can appreciate both styles, but the topping does it with some extra detail. I think if anything, the Qtest is a little bit better with the tones, the inner tones of the strings. So say if there's a string playing, the Qtest, because it's got this holographic kind of like and very big space, every note shares that space. So the note itself, the string, is not just a flat string sound. It's got like a body, a 3D body around it. So I think in that respect, the Qtest, I think it's the biggest strength of the Qtest, is to be able to do that, and that's really nice. But the topping also does that, but in a more closer stage. So the notes still have complexity, but they're just like, you feel like you're in it. I think that's and I love being in it. I really love being in it. And now that the signal is lost that upper frequency kind of a harshness, I'm absolutely in love with this topping here. Like I keep thinking, maybe why stop here? Why am I not going straight onto an R2R DAC? Because it seems to me every description I hear about an R2R DAC is like the best thing ever. Because it's real lifelike, and now they have resolution to match. Chord Q-Test and some other DAC technologies like this 1-bit DAC from Topping here. So maybe you should tell me in the comments if I should do that. But for now I think I'm very happy with the Topping D90 III Discrete. I think it's an amazing device. I think for my music, for my setup, for my liking, I prefer it over the Chord Q-Test, but it's a difficult decision, because if I could, I would keep both, because I can see there being situations where I just want the sound coming off the Q-Test. There's just something playing, just something playing with the Topping. It's not like you can't just play in the background, but it's actually asking you to sort of like be with the music, and I appreciate that. And I think with speakers in particular, with headphones in particular, and if you're listening to like faster paced music, that distance that the Q-Test puts in the sound is not always welcoming. It reminds me a little bit of the Sennheiser HD800S. They put everything at a distance, and that's okay for some recordings, but it's definitely not okay for a lot of the stuff I listen to, which is like rock alternative music, post grunge, kind of like guitars and screams, and so there's for that type of music, the Topping is just unbelievable, because you're close, you're in it, you're like, you can imagine yourself being in a sort of like an underground basement with the band kind of situation. So I'm really happy with the Topping here. My impressions went wow to no, it's not going to be, and then I came back, whatever. But after a few weeks of kind of settling into it, I can see and I can say that this is a fantastic product. They have the D900 coming out, which is a very expensive, much bigger, same technology. But yeah, I keep spending more and more money on gear like this. But so long as I get the return for it, then it's all good. And this is a lot of value. This gives you sound. As I said, there are DACs which are good, DACs which are bad, DACs which do things well, DACs that you listen to. There's probably not many bad DACs anymore. But then there are some DACs which are outstanding, and they really change the way that you listen to music. And I think the Topping D90 III Discrete is one such device, together with the Chord Q-Test here. So top marks for me. Well, thanks for watching. Thank you to my subscribers. It's really nice to see the numbers go up. If you like, hit like. Love you all. Take care.